Prakash and Prakash for the opportunity to speak to all of you. Something that has been giving astonishing results in the last 30 to 40 years. It originated out of some research done at UCLA with Dr. Stern. Just giving you a heads up on it. Everything has an Indian connection with respect to this. The messenger group actually measured Swami Rama in the 60s, and for the first time found out that it is possible to change internal mental states and sustain. Previously, all of us went through different mental states, but it was almost automatic without really gaining control over them. And after the 60s, there was proof by the messenger group that it is possible to regulate oneself or self-regulate the brain to self-regulate. And after which came the work of Barry Stemmer and Joe Kamiya. Joe Kamiya is this, Barry is this. Barry happens to be my teacher with respect to neurofeedback at the UCLA. He's emeritus at the Giffen School of Medicine. And I stayed with him for quite some time and learned this under his wings, which is I think. But the current advances have come from Dr. Thatcher, whose application of mathematics along with neuroscience he's been with NIH in the governing body. He's with Dr. Obama in the health. In fact, he was the person who was supposed to come here, but nominated me because he had a pre-conference workshop. So going into what neurofeedback is and neuroplasticity is, I don't have to tell you what neuroplasticity is. Most of us here are well aware that the ability of the brain to change itself in order to meet internal and external conditions is what we call as neuroplasticity. How is it that neurofeedback enables it? What is neurofeedback? It's the ability of the brain to gain control over some functions which are involuntary or attached to the autonomic nervous system. As you gain control over both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, your ability to heal yourself, or the brain's ability to heal itself, goes to another pitch altogether. Now, there are three components whenever we are doing neurofeedback, or we start off with doing what we call a QEEG. This is the, I wouldn't call it a diagnostic procedure, but a probabilistic procedure which helps you understand where the dysregulation is in the brain. Whenever you are able to find out where the dysregulation is, the recovery process or the retraining process or the training process, for example in autism or people with epilepsy to start with, is almost astonishing. Some of that data is going to be talked about now. The first is eyeballing EEG, which every neurologist does in order to find seizures. The second is comparing it to a normative database so that you have an idea as to where that person is with respect to external behavior. We are not looking at people with normal behavior, but with people who have issues with bringing forth behavior which is not considered normal. Number three is electrical imaging, and we use what is called Loretta. This was discovered by Roberto Pascal Marchi of the Key Institute in Switzerland. And that's been used very successfully in order to localize dysfunction and help people overcome this. One of the things that has happened lately is something which I will talk about again. All of us are very familiar with this. We are calling EEG, and we are also very familiar with this, most of the neurologists, with this particular pattern. Now, this was comparing the same EEG with a normative database and to see where exactly this particular person is with respect to another. I think it's a 35-year-old female who had seizures for a long time, and we were able to help her out. I'll show you the data regarding this as we go along. So you're comparing this person's EEG, it's a 19-lead EEG, converted into a QEEG, and we're looking at both what is happening in the frequencies, both absolute and relative, and what is happening with respect to network properties in the brain, asymmetry, coherence or connectivity, and phase or time in the brain. Where exactly is the problem? Now, this was localized, as I said, it's a 35-year-old female. The dysfunction was localized to right temporal lobe. What are the advantages? This same person, she had done multiple EEGs, MRIs. There was nothing had showed up, but the video EEG did suggest that there might be a right temporal dysfunction. Once this was corrected, this is what happened. Take a look at what this EEG looks like, where we are here. And this happened after just 15 sessions. Right now, I'm working with somebody who's a 9-year-old with myoclonic seizures, and he's been having it from day one. Took about 20 sessions, that's all. Still on medication, still doing what he's doing, but seizures down so dramatically, the mother could not believe that we could actually help this child out until we actually did. Now, that's probably the advantage of having a QEEG, because you are doing three things. First, you are eyeballing, and if there is a seizure, the person is sent away to a neurologist to take it. There is no attempt at medication, no attempt at doing something, because we want more stability in the brain. But if you are localizing this particular area and working with it, using neurofeedback as a mechanism for this, we seem to be getting results which are tremendous, not just in epilepsy, but also in other conditions. The other condition that I'm taking up is that of a 46-year-old female with pain problems in the insula. And all it took was 8 sessions. We had to do some very high-end, we used what is called as Loretta training, which is today available. Dr. Thatcher was the person who has been instrumental in bringing it out to the world. And all it took was just 8 sessions. You can see what is happening. The networks have increased. When network properties has increased, frontal dysfunction has come down. A lot of changes and good changes in behavior. So, if you're talking about pain, what happens to somebody with depression and low back pain? This is what happened with somebody after 15 sessions. So if you're using QEEG, as I said, eyeballing the EEG, finding out what the problems are, yes. The eyeballing part doesn't go away, just as Dr. Fedor Jagla just mentioned, you have to know what you're looking at. I mean, you can't take artifact as real data. So I happen to learn the ABCDs of EEG under the master, Dr. Barry Sturman, as I said, for 3 years. I've probably done about 30,000 EEGs. And all I have to do is tell I'm Barry Sturman's student. And believe it or not, I work with more than 20 MPs in the US. Everybody sends files to me and says, hey, Sri, just do this for me and get it back. And we've been able to produce this kind of results every day. So it is based on doing the QEEG right first. Let's take the same person, where is the problem? Right in the anterior cingulate, you can see what is happening. So it's a huge change in terms of how, in terms of the standard deviation, we went down from 3 to 2.7, I think. But yet, the areas that got changed in posterior cingulate, anterior cingulate, made a very big change to pain perception. Looking at migraines, this is a person with, again, a 40-year-old migraines. I think she's a female. We did about 10 sessions. So this is a paper which came out on migraines by, he's an MD, the neuropsychiatrist in Florida. Then we had a student with Asperger's. We did sessions. I think we did 15 sessions with this child. I think it's there. You can see what is a global change that we could bring about in this no cognitive score. Once again, all of them went through the QEEG as the initial process, and definitely Loretta. Some of the trainings that were used was Loretta itself, because we could work with the broader areas, we could find out where the issue is. I mean, you saw, we could work with the insula on this, we could work with the anterior cingulate on this. You can specify whether it is the left or the right, which frequency band you want to work with. I don't know, if you don't have a Z-score evaluation of what is happening, a statistical measure, I don't know, what is going to be the statistical measure of that particular area for that particular age. So if I'm just working with amplitudes, with absolute values, there is always the probability of something going wrong and having ab reactions. But when we have a statistical measure, it seems to have no ab reactions. And I've been in this field now for 15 years, and I've been working with Z-scores for now probably 8 years, if not 6. And not even a single case where we have had ab reactions. I will tell you towards the end, one of the things that I have been able to innovate, thanks to my spiritual life. I stayed in different ashrams for 15 years. Therefore, I didn't ever have to try putting electrodes on my head. In fact, Gandhi used to say this. He used to say, hey, if you produce something and you want to know whether that works, put it on a tree. He will tell you whether it works or not. Because the last 5 years was spent at minus 50 degrees without any electricity, any infrastructure. And I had to regulate my brain in order to be able to do that. So I also did 5 masters. So, by the way, published a book called Brain Engineering. It came out by Sept in 2003. So, not had time. I work 7 days a week. Start working at 4:30 in the morning. Generally end at 11 in the night. 7 days. I don't know the meaning of the word vacation. Every day I'm on vacation, if you ask me. All right. So this is a child who had problems when he went to his graduate school. Information processing was definitely a problem. He hit literally a wall. Here's what happened. We were able to bring up glucose score, increase it by 11, whereas the IPS went up by 21. Sorry. This is an 18-year-old Asperger's student. Social behavior was a problem. Cognitive score was very difficult. Learning was very difficult in the brain. Again, Loretta neurofeedback. The worst scenario is that this is 10 sessions. This child, who was 18, believe it or not, was called a dud in class. For 18 years, he goes through a tag which he is carrying all the time. Some of the schools have the bad habit of putting monkey caps on, or the dunce cap on him. And this was continued with him for almost till he was 17. At 18, after he went through this, he was termed a genius with the same soil. I don't know who's the dunce is. He had to carry the label of being a dunce. And this is after just 10 sessions of Loretta's Z-score. So if you're working and diagnosing with the right things, what are the areas that we've covered very quickly? We've done epilepsy, we've done pain, we've done depression, we've done cognitive improvement, we've done somebody with Asperger's. I work a lot with children with the autistic spectrum. You can see what happens. Again, 10 sessions. Somebody was telling me autism, is a long-term process. Oh, it takes 2 years, 3 years. I said, I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's what it takes. And I have seen this again. I've had people speaking after 10 sessions. If you know what you're doing, if you diagnose with the right tools and do the right things, most cutting-edge technology that is out there, 10 sessions. Same with the 23-year-old. We did a comprehensive testing. This is the information, the paper on cognitive enhancement. We also have, I worked with Pierre Beauchamp, Dr. Pierre Beauchamp, who has delivered more than 40 gold medals for Canada across different sports. It so happens. The only Indian gold. Anybody know who got the gold for us? Individual gold. Anybody here? Abhinav works with Pierre Beauchamp, and he did neurofeedback before he won the Beijing Olympics. I have it on tape that if he had not done certain things and trained his brain, he would have lost. Small secret, his rifle was tampered with and was out by 25 clicks before the final. They have less than 5 minutes to readjust. Normally, knowing Abhinav is a person who generally is very labile emotional. He would have worried more about who did this rather than go and shoot. Controlled himself, reconnected his rifle, went back and shot. I do a lot of work with peak performance. Some of them. I work with about 40 PGA golfers through with paper shot. I also work with US Armed Forces. People who got shot through the head, thankfully had Kevlar helmets. So there is a concussion problem. So we have 3 weeks at Camp David. Some people in the US may know this. It's exclusively Mark Zola works with it, and he sends me to cues and say, how do we work this out? Okay, so this is latest research that has been published. This for the first time we have empirical evidence that neurofeedback increases or induces changes in both white and gray matter. So this is just coming out in Neuroscience. Some of us may have read this guy's book. He's from the University of Montreal. Mario Beauregard is, I did a master's in imaging, and my project was with Mario in sports injuries in Montreal, using fMRI and other, how to help these children out, people out. So this is just coming out. So the list of things started with seizures, as I said. Buddy's work was instrumental in getting seizures out of the system. Absolutely, in many cases, they were not refractory. They was really not producing anything at all in the brain. All the drugs were taken, then went on. Now today, there are so many things that have come in. No peak performance should come probably there or here. So, Buddy and his group trained, I don't know whether I can say this, but I think the paper is already out. The initial stealth bomber had 3 buttons because of the cognitive growth that is coming into the stealth bomber, because it's a huge amount of cognitive growth that was coming in. He reduced it to 2. That's not a mean achievement at all. And these guys are all top-gun pilots, extremely fit, extremely physically, very, very capable, also very intelligent. At the same time, if you could implement, there is a paper out which helped the Royal Philharmonica become 40% better. Wow! Royal Philharmonica, you can make a normal guy make 40% better. These guys are the best in the world at doing what they're doing. Still, their scales went up by 40%. So the number of things that we are doing is increasing all the time. But the most important thing is you finding out where the dysregulation is. That's what we do. There's something called a symptom checklist. Find out what the indications are, what the QEEG is saying, how you can match the QEEG to the symptom checklist and work with specific networks. Unless and until I have the resting state networks, I don't have to talk to anybody here about. All of you know about the resting state. If I'm not working with these 6 massive networks, the chances are I'm just fooling around. I don't know what I'm doing. So these results are produced by people who understand neuroscience, understand how neurofeedback works, understand how learning happens in the brain. Therefore, you are able to enable people or get back people into a completely different direction. Right? This is what we do in Chennai, and we have branches now in Hyderabad. We're just going to start something new there. People who are interested, we like work with them, teach them, it's a global group. A lot of people are involved, as I already showed you. As I said, Dr. Ravi Prakash had invited Bob Thatcher to come in. He said, I told him after I spoke to you that he's invited me to give a lecture in the morning on 14th. This is what, he didn't come back to me. went out to the whole neurobed groups, which is more than 14,000 people across the world. So this was quite an appreciation. If anybody wants this presentation of blood, just send me a mail and that is what I do. Right? Or want me to work with you, see what we can do, make the whole global group to work. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. First, let me